local American Indian tribes interrupted the Science Advisory Team's MLPA meeting on June 29th after years of being cast aside by a process that treats California's tribes like just another member of the public, rather than as sovereign nations with legitimate natural resource programs of their own. Currently, the Resource Legacy Fund is helping to implement the Marine Life Protection Act, which was signed into law in 1999.
MLPA taking tribal rights away.
The MLPA affects me personally because I gather on the coast every year, and my family does. That's feeding our elders, that's feeding our future generations, and it's just not going to happen. We won't stand for it.
What do you gather?
I gather mussels, PE, SC seaweed, or we call it shagel, and we gathered barnacles and everything. We get quimage, all kinds of stuff, and that's like vital to Yurok's traditions. Today we are here to be heard. We are trying to get people to understand what the MLPA does, like really what it is.
Before we review the agenda, I'd like to go around the room and have the Science Advisory Team and MLPA staff introduce themselves. I'll start. My name is Eric Bjorkstead.
Valley from Mad River Biologists.
Mike Pearl from California Department of Fish and Game.
Sati Arame, MLPA Initiative.
Ken Wiseman, MLPA Initiative.
Yurok Tribe, Susan Burdick. Tribe, Dana Cuomo. Yurok Tribe, Molly White.
Yurok Tribe, Lee Nolan. Yurok Tribe, Frankie Myers.
Yurok Tribe, Sammy Jensen.
Coastal Justice Coalition. Yurok Tribe, Melissa Myers. Climate Justice Coalition.
Yurok Tribe, Lorraine Taggart.
Carol Dyer, Epic. Lauren Peters, Hooper Tribe.
Hawk, Intertribal Sinkyone Wilderness Council.
Priscilla Hunter, Chairwoman of Intertribal Sinkyone Wilderness Council.
Ada Stevenson, Traditional Fishing and Gallery Family.
Russ Rafferty, Smith River Rancheria.
I'd like to point out document B2, and if we could bring that up on the screen. Information gathered from the regional profile, particularly the tribal appendix, Appendix E, to the regional profile, as well as the work that some of our SAP tribal work group members have been doing on historical uses by North Coast tribes and tribal communities. We have brought this to the Department of Fish and Game and worked with the department to add species that are commonly taken in the North Coast region for recreational or commercial fishing.
The tribal folks here and the tribal representatives that I've talked to and that are part of the Intertribal Coalition have all agreed that this survey is intrusive, that this survey does not reflect what we asked for when we originally were talking to the Blue Ribbon Task Force about collaboration. A survey to us tribal folks is not collaboration. So we've advised all of our tribal councils and all of our tribal members not to continue with this survey and feel disrespected that instead of taking our science and brought to the table, we were simply given a survey to fill out. We would like to come to the table. We would like to bring our information to the table. This is not the issue for you to be discussing. You need to kick this back to the Blue Ribbon Task Force and tell them that it's not a science issue, that it's a policy issue. And if it was a science issue, then there needs to be tribal scientists at the table.
There are a lot of ways to get information into the system. But for right now, I'm going to ask, with due respect but also due force, that you allow this meeting to proceed because we have a lot of things that are very technical that need to be applied.
It's simple enough to advise the agenda, let us talk for 20 minutes, and then continue the meeting.
Tomorrow is the public comment. This is a science meeting, a technical meeting. It's been scheduled to have public comment tomorrow, unless you want to speak on something specific here. We've given you the opportunity to speak out of turn now to make sure that your voice was heard. We understand it. I'm sorry you feel that the survey is intrusive, but our staff and many of the people around this table have worked very hard to not make it that way. We have a meeting scheduled tonight to continue to try to gather this information, and so we hope that you'll work within that process.
Okay, I was just trying to help you out.
Oh, we appreciate that, but I would hope it's that we would not disrupt the meeting, because we will adjourn the meeting, and that will just hurt everybody. So if we can go
My
on,
name is Susan
there's no further
Burdick.
public comment.
Excuse
Susan.
me, you're discriminating against everyone that's here, with all the tribal
Billy,
people
would
that
you
has
please cut the
that
microphone,
has.
please?
I don't need it anyway. I can still take. Against Native people, you're discriminating.
We're going to take a 10-minute recess. Thank you.
MLPA taking tribal rights away.
MLPA taking tribal rights away. MLPA taking tribal rights away. MLPA taking tribal rights away. MLPA taking tribal rights away. MLPA taking tribal rights away. MLPA taking tribal rights.
Okay, yeah. If we can come back, are we back on? Okay. We took a break and consulted with staff and management here of this team, which is the science team is a group of scientists which are appointed by the director who determines the composition of this group. And obviously we want to have a respectful process. We have, since the beginning, reached out to be absolutely as inclusive and understanding of tribal interests in the tribal communities. The protest here today was obviously not on the agenda. Clearly, we have a lot to do, and it's our thought that we need to hear this group out, and I'm proposing that we let the group tell us how, over the next 15 minutes, they want to make sure that their perspective is heard.
I believe that the SAT group here is devoid of tribal science. I believe that that's a very negative impact and a poor message to set out for inclusion if that was your goal. The other thing that I think that if you're sending out forms and surveys to be filled by tribe, not only it is invasive, but it's disrespectful. Why should we have to justify our use of ceremonial and subsistence gathering and harvesting? It isn't anybody's business. It's a lifestyle for us. We think it's an infringement of tribal rights and our violation for the freedom to express our religion through the gathering of ocean and fresh water.
We need to protect our environment, and this process was a good idea, I think, when it started. As a science team, I think you should be spending more time figuring out how are you really going to protect these areas. Are you really looking at how you're going to prevent offshore drilling? Are you looking at how you're going to prevent over-harvesting by commercial fisheries?
My name is Susan Burdick again. I'm a traditional gatherer. My whole lifetime as an adult, I've spent teaching the youth how to gather, where to gather, how much to take. And each time I go to certain areas, and when I go back, I make sure that that place is not over-harvested. I know what to take. I know where to get it. I know the time of the year. You know what? I think there's going to be a lot of jails filled up because, I'm not going to take and stop doing what I do. I know that it's my right, and it'll be a right until the day I die.
Like she said, we know what we need to take. We don't take what we want. We take what we need for our families. I set my net. I catch some fish. First thing those fish go to is elders. First thing they go to is people that need them before myself. But that's just how I was raised. That's how I was brought up. And that's our culture. And there's nothing, no piece of paper, no rule, no law that will stop me from doing that.